Hello everybody, in this video I'm going to be doing a brief stock analysis on Salesforce, and this is not going to be any means a deep dive into their financials, but more so me just giving my opinion about the company and the outlook for the industry. And I do a ton of brief stock analysis videos just like this one, so be sure to come and check those out on my channel if you do enjoy the video. Before I start talking about Salesforce in particular, you can see up here that a few companies are going to be leaving the Dow 30, such as Exxon, Raytheon, and Pfizer, and a few companies are going to be joining the Dow 30, which are going to be Salesforce, Amgen, and Honeywell. This is not going to directly affect the company. I just thought it was a really cool footnote because it only happens every 2 or 3 years. And here we can see their 5-year chart on Robinhood. We can see they're up over 300% in the last 5 years, which is an extremely strong growth for this already massive company. And almost all of that growth is from the last 3.5 or 4 years, and you can see a huge dip here in the last 6 months in May. Salesforce was affected just like most of the rest of the market, but they rebounded faster than most other segments of the market because people need Salesforce, or companies need Salesforce more now than ever, which I'm going to also cover a little bit about their earnings here in just a second. And here's their 1-year basic chart on Robinhood. You can see in the last year they're up 76%, which is strong, not amazing, but pretty good, and a lot of that is actually from just today. As you can see here, they're up over 26% today, or just below, I suppose, with after hours, but an incredible gain from Salesforce today. And what's absolutely crazy to me about the 26% gain today is that, yes, they've been doing a lot of minor improvements and increasing their margins, but they only slightly beat revenues. They were expecting $4.9 billion, and they got $5.15 billion for the second quarter. And even though Salesforce has been making some minor improvements and they're expanding into new sectors, and they've been doing well comparatively to most other industries this quarter, the revenues have not really been reflecting anything to me that would show or that would mean that the company should earn a 26% boost in one day. Now, just taking a really quick look at their financials on Yahoo Finance, we can see year over year seeing super strong revenue growth as well as earnings growth from 2017 to 2019, and then just a little bit of a dip in 2020. And then even if we take a look at the last 4 quarters, we're seeing revenue growth as well as earnings not looking great in quarter 4 of 2019 or quarter 1 of 2020, but you are seeing a big increase in quarter over quarter for the last 2 quarters, which I think is part of the reason why the stock increased so much today, but still doesn't really explain it. And then another thing I wanted to point out is the 41 analyst ratings from Morningstar gave Salesforce an 88% buy rating, and I normally don't even point this out because it doesn't mean a ton to me, but I just did want to note this really strong buy rating from the analysts. Next up, I wanted to talk about a few points by the bears and the bulls by analysts at Morningstar. So first up, I'm just going to touch on a couple of points, a couple of positive points by the analysts. And the first one is that Salesforce dominates the SFA space, and I believe that stands for Salesforce Automation or Salesforce Automated System, maybe, but it still only controls about 30% in a highly fragmented market that continues to grow double digits each year. So Salesforce is dominating in their particular sector of the industry, and information systems and data are becoming more relevant and really able to make companies a lot more money every single year, which is going to directly correlate to Salesforce's revenue, especially as they continue to add more clients and their current clients pay more and more. And that kind of leads to the second point. The company has added legs to the overall growth story, including customer service, marketing automation, e-commerce, analytics, and artificial intelligence. And I'm not really sure why analytics is in there because that's kind of what they do. But as macro data becomes more and more value, I'm sure they will add even more legs, as this says, to make even more money over time because they're going to have more revenue streams. And now I'm going to take a look at a few points by the bears. The first one is, as the company grows larger, driving 20% growth revenue, it is likely to become increasingly difficult, and I completely disagree with this. And you can just take a look at Microsoft or Apple or even Tesla, and those companies are already really, really big, and they're continuing to expand their revenue. But going into the next point, which is that Salesforce has entered new areas or segments, which I just talked about in the last point for the bulls, and arguably paid premiums, and I mean, they have to do what they have to do to buy other companies and acquire them and get into new sectors. So I really don't see that as a negative, that they're acquiring other companies for large sums of money. And then just the last point is that as big as Salesforce already is, the company generates substandard margins. And I don't necessarily agree with this one either. They're kind of the biggest in their industry, which would be information systems and analytics. So since they're the biggest, they don't need to have as big of margins as some of the smaller players. And then just the last thing I wanted to do is take a look at the research report overview. Here you can see a overall Morningstar rating of 3 out of 5 stars, an economic moat, which is wide, and I would completely agree with that. An economic moat is a little bit complicated, but it's basically just something such as their brand or maybe patents they have that make it really hard to be competed against. And I would say there's lots of things about Salesforce that does make it a wide economic moat, largely due to it being so much larger than most of its competitors. And then the main reason why it's only 3 out of 5 stars, I believe right now, is because the fair value is at $202 and it's currently at $272. The uncertainty is medium, which I guess I would disagree with a little bit. I would say the uncertainty is relatively low, especially right now. And then stewardship is standard, and to be honest, I really do not know a lot about Salesforce's top management, so I guess I agree with that. And lastly, I just wanted to say that even though I do own just one single share of Salesforce, which I got in at about $150, I believe, I do not think it's a buy right now, especially at this price being at $270. I do not understand fully why it went up so much today. And if you are interested in investing in this company, I would wait for some significant pullback. But even with that being said, I do think it's a long-term buy. Be sure to come and check out my channel for more videos like this, subscribe for more content, and thank you so much for watching.